Today I'm going to do our read aloud for Attack from Outer Space. So, hopefully you guys can see this. I'm going to zoom in just a little bit here so we can see as I read. So we're reading Attack from Outer Space. A huge fireball from space exploded above a Russian city, injuring more than 1,000 people. But no one saw it coming. How did this happen? February 15th, 2013 starts as a normal day in Chelyabinsk, Russia. People eat breakfast, drive to work, and head to school. But for the 1.1 million people who live in this busy city, everything is about to change. A space rock is headed for Chelyabinsk. It's 55 feet across, and nobody knows it's coming. This rock has been circling close to Earth for thousands of years. Finally, this morning, it enters our atmosphere, the layer of gases surrounding our planet. Zooming towards Earth's surface, the rock gets hotter and hotter. The heat is so strong that the rock starts to crumble. It's traveling 40,000 miles an hour. So that is one fast space rock. So if we look, that's obviously the space rock that they are talking about. All right, so here is Chelyabinsk, Russia, which is the city that we're talking about. And this is where that big, huge asteroid just hit. So it says, picture a rocket shooting into the sky. The rock was moving more than twice as fast. Now it's close to the ground. It won't be long until it explodes. The residents of Chelyabinsk stare as a fireball streaks across the blue-pink morning sky. It disappears in a flash of light brighter than the sun. A trail of smoke is left behind. Some people run outside or go to their windows for a better look. Others pull their cars over. What was that? A missile? A plane crash? Aliens? So if we look down here at the bottom of our screen here, it tells us what a missile is. And a missile is a rocket that explodes when it hits a target. 2 long minutes pass, and then, boom, smash! Walls collapse. People are knocked to the ground. Windows shatter. Razor-sharp pieces of glass fly into homes, schools, and offices. In an instant, 1,500 people are injured. They are lucky. It could have been worse. So we're going to pause and think here. What happened in Chelyabinsk on February 15th, 2013? So if we look back in our story, if we go back to the other page that we were on, it says on February 15th, 2013, it started as a normal day, but a space rock is headed for Chelyabinsk. So we have to look back in what we've read so we can answer that pause and think question. So here is the streaks going across the sky. So somebody actually was able to get a picture of it. And so they show us there those streaks going through the sky. And it says, zoom boom. The Chelyabinsk fireball was captured by many people using cell phone cameras. Their images have been a big help to scientists. So this little inset, or this little picture here, it says, this is the large hole that was left by the meteorite that crashed into the frozen lake. Look how big around that is. It's huge. Couldn't imagine being there in real life. All right. Rocks from the sky. Ever look up at the night sky and see a shooting star? Isn't it beautiful? Don't let the name confuse you, though. A shooting star is not really a star. It's a meteor. A meteor produces a stream of light when it burns up in the Earth's atmosphere. Our solar system contains millions of rocks. I wonder what a solar system is. Well, if I look down here and I look at my highlighted words, there's solar system, and it means our sun and the planets that move around it. So, our solar system has the sun, a bunch of other planets, and millions of rocks. These include asteroids, comets, and meteoroids. So those are some words that I'm not sure of. So if I look down here, they tell me those definitions as well. So an asteroid is a large space rock. Comets are rocks made up partly of ice. So that's kind of interesting because we know that the asteroids and the meteors are really hot. So I'm interested that a comet is partly made of ice. Now, a meteoroid is a small space rock. So, asteroids are the big ones, and the meteoroids are the small ones. So, meteors that are especially large and bright are called fireballs. Any meteor that make it to Earth are called meteorites. Space rocks are leftovers from when the planets of our solar system formed about 4.5 billion years ago. The rocks move around the sun in circles called orbits. Sometimes they knock into each other, bouncing around like bumper cars. Often, they fall close to us. Each day, Earth is hit by tons of debris. Interesting. So if I look at the bottom, it says debris are pieces of something that is broken. So that makes sense. So those rocks are broken pieces of the planets once they formed those 4.5 billion years ago. So, but most of it burns up in the atmosphere without causing any damage. But if an asteroid wider than a mile across were to hit Earth, it would be a disaster. 60 million years ago, a huge asteroid crashed off the coast of what is now Mexico. Scientists believe dust clouds from the explosion blocked out the sun. This caused plants and animals to die. It's likely what led to dinosaurs becoming extinct. Now, we did talk about this word when we learned about fossils, but let's go down to the bottom and make sure that we're right. So, extinct means no longer existing or no longer living. So, obviously, our dinosaurs became extinct. That means they're no longer living. Could that happen again? I'm going to pause and think. How do space rocks end up on Earth? Well, let's look back and see if we can find our answer. So, it says a meteor produces a stream of light when it burns up in Earth's atmosphere. So that means those rocks get through Earth's atmosphere, and then we can call them asteroids, comets, and meteoroids. So, any meteors that make it to Earth are called meteorites. So, if they break through Earth's atmosphere, they become meteorites, and that's how they get to Earth. So, sometimes they knock into each other, bouncing around like bumper cars, and often they fall close to us. So, if they're able to make it to us, we call them meteorites. Of course, it says that most burn up in the atmosphere, so they don't get to Earth. So if I look up at my picture up here, this is one huge space rock. It says this chunk of the meteor was pulled from the bottom of a lake and put on display in a Chelyabinsk museum. It weighs more than 1,400 pounds. That is a pretty big space rock. Another close call. The last time a meteor caused serious damage was back in 1908. Strangely, it was also in Russia. That's kind of interesting. A farmer named S.B. Semenov was sitting on a porch in Siberia. This is a vast area in eastern Russia. Well, I know that vast is describing area, so let's see. I'm going to look at the bottom. And it says right here in the highlighted part that vast means large. So it's a large area in eastern Russia. Suddenly, the sky lit up and Semenov was knocked to the ground. Later, he wrote that the heat almost burned the shirt off me. Wow, that's one hot rock. Semenov was more than 40 miles away from Tunguska, where the huge space rock hit. Still, he felt its power. That's crazy, 40 miles away. And that heat was still so hot that it almost burned the shirt off of him. The space rock was much larger than the one in Chelyabinsk. The Tunguska meteor was much closer to the ground, too. The blast knocked down 80 million trees in a space that was more than twice the size of New York City. That's a lot of trees to knock down in a big, big space. But these events are rare. Most scientists never imagined they would ever see anything like what happened in Russia. Events like the one that probably doomed the dinosaurs are even more rare. They happen only once every 100 million years or so. So that's a long time. And of course, like they said, it's very rare. So I'm sure we won't be on Earth the next time another crazy asteroid tries to come hit the Earth. So we're going to pause and think. How is the 1908 meteor different from the Chelyabinsk one? Well, if I remember reading back, it said that the space rock was much larger than the one in Chelyabinsk. So the Tunguska meteor was bigger, and it was also much closer to the ground, and it knocked down more than 80 trees. And we know that when we looked back, if we look back about the Chelyabinsk, it was a pretty big event, but it didn't cause this much damage. So this picture right here of this gentleman, it's a tiny meteorite from the Chelyabinsk. So if we look at this guy, this big guy over here, and then we look at this little guy, came from the same thing, but it's just a way, way smaller. Money for meteorites. What happened in Chelyabinsk reminds us of something that's easy to forget. We live on a planet that's drifting through space, and there are objects, drifting along with us. Someday those objects might put us in danger. So that's one thing we really don't think about. So we go along our daily, business and go to school and work and eat and drink and all that stuff. And we have to realize that we're doing all those things, but Earth is huge and it's floating in space just like all these other space rocks are. And we never really know when one of those space rocks is going to put us in danger or when. So it's quite interesting. But scientists around the world are working hard to make sure that what happened in Chelyabinsk never happens again. Fortunately, no one in Chelyabinsk was killed. No one was seriously hurt either. In fact, many people in the area started a new hobby. They hunt for meteorites. Even small pieces of the fireball can be worth thousands of dollars. So if you look back at this little picture, this guy is probably holding a good bit of money in his hand right there in that little rock. If you were to see a meteorite, though, you probably wouldn't think it was anything special. Most look an awful lot like a boring old black rock. You'd probably walk right by it. Honestly, Miss Tudor would probably walk right by it because that honestly looks like gravel. So if you don't know what you're looking at, you probably wouldn't even realize it. So we're going to pause and think for the last time. What did the people of Chelyabinsk do after the explosion? So if we look back, it said that many people in the area started a new hobby. So after that rock hit, people began hunting for these meteorites because they're worth lots of money. So if you find an actual piece of that meteorite that fell in Chelyabinsk, you've got a lot of money on your hands. So people, after the explosion, they started that new hobby. Alrighty, guys. So that is our read aloud for this week. So please make sure that you paid attention to those vocabulary words that I discussed as we read through, and the pause and think questions. So tomorrow what I want you guys to do, because of course, we started our read aloud today instead of Monday. So tomorrow what I'd like you guys to do is either watch this video again or go ahead on, like I've showed you in the other video, and you can read however way that you would like. You can read the article, you can have it read to you, or you can come back and watch my video and I can read it to you. But make sure you guys do that tomorrow, so that way Thursday when our quiz opens on Schoology, you guys are ready for it, and you guys have 2 days to take that quiz. Good luck, you guys, and I will be reading to you all next week.